In general, I feel that everything are more expensive right now, starting from houses, HDB, rental for workers. Instead of paying $300-400 per person for our workers, $300-400 when they share a room, a HDB room, when they do a rental. Now they are paying 600 to 700, about twice the amount. Yeah, comparing to about 10 years ago, or at least 5-6 years ago. So
Pre-COVID, yep.
yeah, if these workers need to earn more just to justify their rental, business owners will definitely have a cut lah. So some businesses, in order to survive, rent also increase, salary also have to increase, and these few years, right, like during COVID, there's a lot of shortages of workers. So those bigger brands like Haidilao, all these, there's no more 10, 11, $12 per hour. It's $14 to $16 per hour. So this period of time, the last time when I hire in 2020 or 19, to hire a part-timer is about 8, 9, $10. Now minimally $12. Uncle aunties are looking at $14, 13, $14.
What about the big chains like McDonald's or Starbucks?
McDonald's, all these normally they will try to hire permanent part-time to reach 1.6K. Yeah, to hire Malaysians or foreigners. So they have a lot of this uncle auntie. So I think their rates are about $12, 11 point something. And it's also together with the progressive wage model.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
after my A levels, I was getting $4 per hour.
Yeah. My $7. I $7.
Yeah, because you're way younger.
Yeah, I $7.
Okay.
So now it's 12 to 14. And big Chinese brands are paying 14 to 16. Yeah.
Okay. Then are there other overheads such as increase in cost of workman compensation or some of these liabilities you have to pay to the insurer and our compliance to Ministry of Manpower as well as NEA. So that type of overheads are sort of less visible.
Yeah, like for us to hire work permits per head, I think last time we were paying like 1.2K, 1.4K to have a head count. Now it's 1.6K salary. So basically, even you hire a permanent part-time, normally what we will do is we hire a lot of part-timers to make sure that they earn 1.4K. So basically, if you're a small shop, you only need, like if for me, I run the one small store, I don't think I will need 4 to 5 permanent part-timers to hire 1 to 2 Malaysians. So just to make up the numbers, I have to hire more, pay them more. Actually, it's to pay them more. Instead of $10 per hour, I need to pay them $13, $14 per hour.
Okay, so again, we are looking at a few of the cost components, right? And of course, other than the rent that the staff has to cover, let's say a Malaysian worker renting a bedroom here in the HDB, they have to cover that, so they need a higher salary, so the bosses have to pay them higher. So input costs are sort of spiraling up, partly because real estate costs and rents are, even residential rents is pushing up. Now, from the demand angle, you have been doing your campaigning, especially what are the residents telling you?
I mean, if you look at what happened to Hong Kong in 2021, 2022, where everything just died down, the whole of Hong Kong's F&B scene start to, degenerate.
COVID, no?
Yeah, then, for a short moment in time, Singapore's F&B was extremely booming in 2022. Right after the lockdowns were over, right? You couldn't even get reservations for common places. Like even my good friends at RVLT who've moved, right? They expanded to Taiwan during that time, right? And you know what Hong Kong did to ensure that they revive? Because I was just there a couple of weeks ago. They cut alcohol tax, right? They do simple things like alcohol tax, and they change the licensing regime. I can't remember the exact amount, but that really changed the way people will go out, because it's going out is when people say going out to eat, right? People don't go out. People go out to meet friends, right? But just the entire cost chain of going out is difficult, right? Because you need to worry about your Grab at night, and nowadays when more people don't work in the CBD, but still have to travel to where all the entertainment places are in the CBD. that's going to be a problem because your Grab saturation will cause price, and just the hassle of even booking a Grab also gives you a worry, right? And if you were and a restaurant planning to start an entertainment space or new nightlife concept in 2025 or 2026, right? You will have to price in all of the inputs with the mental effect of the two GST increases, right? Because they always say that, oh, GST increases are just one part, rental one part, but because F&B margins is single digit, all the one part add together becomes untenable to do things.
So
right?
it is the confluence of
Yeah.
factors. But your suggestion about your reference to what Hong Kong has done actually is a good idea. For example, if compliance cost has increased, it is going to cost $3,000 for me to get a qualified engineer to come and inspect the gas or the electrical high tension works. Some of these costs, could it be absorbed by the authorities? Meaning when fire safety experts come to review your renovations, could it be at the cost of the government? You can make it very strict.
Yeah.
I will make sure that the renovation is to high standards so that I minimize risk of pipes bursting, for example, recently in some buildings, and then all the restaurant had to close shop for that night. But the cost of that inspection, getting the qualified engineers in to sign off, those type of costs can actually be removed from the retailers and the F&B services operators.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke about this in campaigning, and I'm sure also you've done your research before on what Professor Tay used to talk about, right? Civic mindedness in the way we design our cities, right? Are we designing our cities for maximum capitalism, or are we designing our cities for civic, entertainment and civic, basically the public coming together to participate in activities together, right? If we design our cities entirely for land pricing and justification of REITs and whatnot, and this is something even Ho Kwon Ping recently mentioned on the Yalaba podcast, that if the REITs responsibility is to just continually return money on the REITs, right, then you will never have planning that builds for beautiful cities or more innovative concepts, right? And Ho Kwon Ping referenced his hotel that he sold to Lucy Group lah, saying that it has degenerated because places like hotels, restaurants, and public entertainment areas, right, can only be beautiful if you consider the artistic concept to be the priority first. Then you consider, the cost to be secondary in objective.
Yeah, community thinking first.
Yeah.
So while you were going around in your campaigning and door knocking, you would have met many families who would be chit-chatting. What's the situation like in terms of consumer spend? Why are they seemingly holding back?
So in the area that I ran for, there are people that can only afford to eat at Old Airport Road lah. And then there's also people that can fly over to KL for omakase and fly back, right? But if you look from a perspective of a medium to high spender, okay, why should I go and pay 1,000 per pax for a 1 star here, when if I go to Japan or I go to Thailand, I can get the same or better experience for half the price, right? And that is very important because the people who can fly, they will not feel the urge to, maybe this weekend I have to eat a 1 star or 2 star, and then I force myself to eat in Singapore. Because if they have the means, they hold back, they go overseas instead. And there are so many good restaurants in the region. They don't even talk about, like, say, flying over to, say, New York, because it's, even if you add up the cost, sometimes taking a direct flight to Greece or to UK or to New York, and then you have the meal, you come back, it's still cheaper than Singapore. Yeah.
Okay, maybe you are talking about rich Bitcoin wealthy people like you.
No, but it all flows. It all flows. Is like, because like when people like myself, I eat. I have tried almost all the gourmand restaurants and all the. This is the one thing I didn't mention in campaigning, but I'm gourmand restaurant staff.
Hunt down the big
hunt down,
gourmands.
Yeah. We used to have this culture in Singapore where if something good opens, we will go and chong and then try.
Travel and queue.
Yes, but nowadays, because of social media, because of ability to make international reservation, right, people wait it out lah. Because why? The value justification is just not there.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the point of crypto also, especially on young people,
Yeah.
one of my ex-students updated me that he has got a few classmates who are now severely in debt at 30 years old because they went to take margins and leverage to invest in crypto. And so one, even before hitting 30 years old, one is already down negative 50,000, another one is down 150,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they roll over credit card debt and all that.
In the world of crypto, we call it no crying in the casino.
Ah,
You want to go and borrow, your hand itchy, then you no crying in the casino.
okay.
It's not as if like people with people and MBS, everybody go down there and don't borrow money as well. A lot of people also go to MBS, also borrow money as well. Right. Yeah, but of course don't buy the rubbish lah. Yeah. You know, it's all about it's all about, like I campaign only about Bitcoin. I didn't say anything else. Right, because it's about inflation. Yeah. And you look at this, why do you think that, you know, from your perspective, why do you think like so many F&Bs cannot open in the, the square footage that's available? Like, you know, you mentioned just
There are 5 million
Yeah.
square feet of
Yeah.
retail space that's available.
What's your take?
So my take is a lot of places, landlords, they are trying to price out their spaces. They try to reserve their spaces. Like, for example, I rent it out to 8 of them. 8 out of 10 slots, 8 slots are at 5K. If I pull it down to 3 to 4K, you bring down the value, overall value of my whole space. And basically, a lot of them, they have no reasons. I mean, for a lot of landlords, they are already so rich that they don't need this rental income. And most of them, their property already flipped for more than 5 times within the past 10 years. Yeah, at least 5 times. So basically, these 2-3K or 5K differences won't hurt them.
Yes. What he has got onto is that if you have got coffee shop that has got 10 stalls and 2 stalls are vacant, the other 10 stalls are renting at 5K each. If you just try to rent out the other 2 stalls at 4K each in order to fill them up, it is of course a better experience and more choices for the consumers, but then it actually sort of overall reduces the valuation of your property. If you want to resell this coffee shop, you bought it a few years ago at 10 million, now you want to resell at 15 million, you actually have to hold on to these 2 vacancy. And these last 2 units, you try to get somebody to pay you 6,000 to 8,000 for them, so that it is pushing up the overall average. And your headline then says 8,000, even though it's just one store paying 8,000, the rest paying 5. But to make one store pay 4,000 while the rest are paying 5, you won't be able to achieve your target of selling it at $15 million.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about solutions, because people say we only not make noise. Right? the real focus is whether or not, right, the government, as a policy, principle of a policy, right, decides they want to maximize land appreciation at all costs. Okay? This is the first principle in Marxist economy. Without this, right, we cannot have first principle thinking. Because there are many ways people suggest online, and they're also very good. For example, vacancy tax. If you keep too long, then we must have vacancy tax. Why is this important? Because it tells you whether or not somebody, right, is adding value to the business chain of Singapore, or are they just being a landlord, right? It is a fundamental discussion whether or not we push the landlordism to what angle. Right, there are things available that we discussed about alcohol tax, right? I also talk about, basically standardizing all the music license. Shanmugam allowed the 4 a.m. thing to do. You think people were there at 2 a.m.? 2 a.m. all go home. 1 a.m. in fact nobody also, the 4 a.m. thing.
Correct.
Right. So these are all stopgap measures. Right.
Yep.
And I mean, even people will say they say, oh, if you talk about minimum wage, right, means or UBI, or means you are trying to be a communist, right? But the answer is not that. The answer is, can you incentivize rent discounts if you employ people and pay them more? You can incentivize some ways like that, where if you raise your wages of your workers, you can have a discount on rent in certain places, right? But all these are the policies that you choose whether or not you want to discuss or you don't discuss. You don't discuss, it means you all say land pricing, land cost up at all costs, and that's a problem.
Okay. What do you think is a good way of implementing that vacancy tax thing? Because you have also done some videos mentioning it.
For vacancy tax, the main thing I think is like a wait out period, 3 months, 6 months. Like for me,
3 or 6?
about 6 months.
6 months.
6 months.
But then how do we put in the vacancy tax actually at the store level? You can have a vacancy tax
Shop
on the
house.
shop
Shop.
or shop house, right? Or a strata title unit. Let's say, for example, like Lucky Plaza has got quite a lot of vacant units. You incentivize the landlords to quickly rent them out. So shop by shop you can identify. But then for the coffee shop operators, the big chains of food courts, if their stalls are vacant, how might vacancy tax actually?
Actually, for us, every 3 months, MOM will call us for manpower research and survey. Every
Yes,
3 months.
correct,
So
correct.
these some things that they can do.
Mm.
And a lot of us, even for food store now, right, we need to pay stamp duty. So for if you sign a contract
Yeah,
with the
the rental stamp
rental,
duty.
right, you need to pay a small percentage, which for my stores, typically I pay $500. So every 2 years we renew $500. And for my friends, when they are paying 20-30K of rental, every time they renew their contract, it's 5 to 6K of stamp duty. Yeah, to operate a business. So the stamp duty is very expensive right now. And this will be all the key things. I think there's still statistics on the URA side or the IRAS and URA side that what are the units are rented out because they pay a stamp duty.
Yeah.
Then I think there's still ways to check from their side.
Yes. So if they want to monitor, even down at the individual food court level, whether that food court's 20 stalls have got 5 vacancies or not, they
the
can
PQM. So basically, they put a PQM, price quality tender for coffee shops, right? They just ask you to write a proposal of the coffee shop. So most of them they can talk very well. They got all the scholars around, ChatGPT. The quality portion of it is definitely 100%. So it boils down to the price. So everybody, the quality itself is about talking and writing report, right? Writing the proposal. Then it's about the price. So for all the coffee shops, they are trying to push and push. So now 88.8K for 10 minutes coffee shop. 10 years ago, coffee shop, the most I think is 50K or 40K. Yeah, so
I
it's
mean, it also boils down to what we as a society consider important to us, right? And our UNESCO hawker up for renewal soon, I think. So the question is, did we invest in preserving the hawker culture, right? You know, growing up, right, for longest time, nobody has ever heard of more than $3,000 hawker rent. No such thing, right? You even hear of uncle aunties, $500 they every year pay maybe 1,000 after 10 years, something like that, right? So the question is why we encourage this, because you look at where labor and capital is going, right? Labor can no longer catch up capital because of AI. So when people go and cook and invest in, like, say, their own F&B hawker or that, right? That's the only way, right? They can build up enough capital to say for assets like houses or whatnot, right? But what about the white collar people? They will all be hollowed out by AI, so they'll never able to play catch up. And so the question now we must ask ourselves going forward next 10 years is, what is the role of the landlords in Singapore? And the biggest landlord is the government, right? If you cannot provide a good way for labor to catch up, then capital need to take a back seat, right? I think this is very important. You can build a house 50 something story. How come a hawker center 2 story? Okay. Right.
I didn't expect you to come
be
in
so
with
angry,
this type of philosophical, very high level. Yeah, what you
but NEA is quite funny, or the disparity is very big. Like some hawker centers, some of them are paying $200 for rental.
Yes, where I
And
am
some
at
are paying
Commonwealth
4K
Crescent.
to 5K.
Yeah, the most expensive one at Marine Parade is 10K.
10K.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's terrible. I stay in Marine Parade.
Yeah.
So it really is disparity, a very, very big disparity. And so basically, if you're born later or you come to work later, you're definitely at a disadvantage.
Yeah, but that brings me back to the original point that actually rent is not the single most important killer of the F&B experience, because the hawker center that I frequent, Commonwealth Crescent, there are many vacant stalls. At least 4 or 5 out of the whole
Is it
second
the
floor.
Tanglin Hall down the
Tanglin Hall has already closed. This one is Commonwealth Crescent across the road.
Two chef eating house.
Near two chefs, yeah. If you got a stall there at $100, of course, then you have still got to pay the cleaning and the utilities. That will cost you another 1,000 plus. But if your food were good, or if let's say you are making muffins and scones from that, it could be delivered, and so you are using it as a kitchen, but actually your customers can be anywhere in Singapore. And if your food is good, you can really enjoy cheap, low rental.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's like it's important to be capitalistic, but we also have to understand the constraints, right? Their staying power for certain chains, they have it, right? You say if your food is good, then you also need time to R&D to make your food good, right? You take like, for example, what CNA recently covered, Chef Kang's wanton noodle, right? They didn't get the VIP Goma at the start. Then when they got it, they lost the star. Then they take time. Then they come back again, right? But because they are in this industrial estate, they have staying power, right? Or rather, because you get once and then you stay power, they have this advantage. How about people wanting to try new things today, start new concepts today, right? The first hurdle is rent, right? And the first hurdle is always rent. And that's the thing. They are not bidding into these old $300 slots anymore, right? Unless they go through the, I think they go on hawker incubation. Then they can get $1,000.
Very cheap one.
Yeah, very cheap.
The pasta at Holland the market, the pasta.
The new one.
Yeah.
But then at Commonwealth Crescent, really, you pay
It's 100.
Yeah.
80 or 100.
People's Park, $1 also got already. People's Park. But that one got 200 unit. So